Hello and welcome to this Warhammer 40k detachment review. Today we are going to be looking at the Ironstorm Spearhead detachment. We're going to look at how the army functions, the stratagems, the enhancements, everything you can get when playing this detachment. And then we're going to look at some spotlight units. And also we're going to run through a potential list with this detachment. So, Jake, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm really looking forward to be able to talk about the Ironstorm Spearhead.
Yeah.
Really awesome detachment from the new Space Marine Codex, one of the many that it has. And this one's more centered around your sort of Iron Hand themed army list. So a bit more vehicle based, a bit more tech marine based, as you can see from the lovely vehicles we have in front of us today.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can use it with any chapter. You're not limited anymore. One of the beauties of this codex.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the theme of the codex, right? Is everything is supposed to be just free to play, no matter what color scheme you've painted your army. You could use whatever Space Marine collection you've got with each detachment.
Exactly. So we're going to start off with the actual just detachment rule.
Yep.
So this is called Armoured Wrath. Really basic here.
Yep.
So what it is once per phase for each Adeptus Astartes unit in your army, you can reroll one hit, one wound, or one damage roll.
Okay, so it's one or the other. Right?
Yeah. So if you want to reroll a hit roll and you do that, you can't then reroll a wound or a damage.
In the same phase.
Yeah.
Right.
So really good.
Yeah.
Already, like pretty solid. Really great for your sort of random damage weapons. It means you're not going to have to be spending CP on those. Equally as well for losing reroll wounds on Oath of the Moment as well. So like the ability for, let's say, a ballistic las cannon, a repulsor, executioner gun. Going to be really good to be able to do some damage there.
Yeah.
So really solid and super basic as well.
Yeah, because it's actually giving you access to like these things which have got like 2 shots, like as you said, your lancers and stuff. It's giving you that option now to have rerolls on them because the codex does actually have a few reroll wounds sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
But it's still limited, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting that full instant boom.
No, exactly. Not enough, I think, to really make a huge difference.
Yeah.
But this does definitely help the army no matter what you're doing.
Definitely.
It could even be like, let's say you take a big unit of, I don't know, intercessors.
Yeah.
And that lasts you need 5 wounds to go through, and you've only done 4.
Yeah.
You can re-roll one of those wounds. Like, it may not seem like the biggest deal, but it helps, right?
Well, Eldar have a similar one, don't they? Where you can re-roll a hit and a wound roll.
Yeah. So this is like just the extra bit.
Yeah, exactly. So really good detachment rule. I like it.
Yeah.
So next we're going to look at some enhancements.
Yeah.
But before we continue, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, The Outpost. If you're looking for great deals on your miniatures, paints and gaming supplies, we've got you covered. Their wide variety of exceptional service makes them the go-to destination for all hobby needs. So don't wait, check out The Outpost today. Link in the description below.
Yeah, so the first we're going to talk about is the Target or Augury Web. So this is a aura, and it can only go on a Tech Marine. So you're going to notice that a lot of these enhancements are Tech Marine locked.
Yeah, sure.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because of when you start to look at how this attachment's wanting to work, vehicles are really benefited from this attachment.
Yeah, sure.
Starting with actually this enhancement. So Tech Marine model only, while a friendly Adeptus Astartes vehicle models within 6 inches of the bearer, the weapons equipped by that vehicle model have the lethal hits ability.
And that's an aura of 6 inches.
That is an aura of 6 inches to all of your vehicles. Now, bear in mind, you may sit on the surface and go, but Jake or Jord, or equally anybody you're maybe sat next to while watching this video, you may go, that doesn't sound that great. But then you start remembering there are things in Marines like Gladiator Reapers that just have mass amounts of shots. Okay, maybe not the best strength, but mass amounts of shots. So then you look at like the Redemptor as an example. Yes, he does have a plasma cannon or the Dev Wound rotary cannon, which may not seem like the best to have lethal. But still, like even just into like something that's a bit tough to kill, that's still useful.
Yeah, exactly.
Heck. Even a Land Raider, this has so many ways of being really good.
On your melters, it's so good.
Yeah.
Lethal on your melters is so good.
So I think that's an amazing enhancement. So we started off extremely strong.
Yeah, that's a very, very... I think one thing to note in the Marine Codex is if you can lean into lethal hits, it's important to do so because you're over the moment. When you've lost the reroll wounds, having something that automatically wounds is very, very good. And it's going to help make the army feel a bit more like punchy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that, mate. Cool. So next one. Okay, so the next enhancement, mate.
The Flesh is Weak. And that's just not a statement.
Oh,
that is
I
an
was going to
enhancement.
say, all right, mate.
So this is, again, really basic. So this is something that isn't Tech Marine locked.
Sure.
Like one of the other ones, or well, we've already seen one that is.
Yeah.
This is very simple. The bearer gets a 4+ feel no pain.
Nice.
So really great if you just want maybe like a lone character.
Yeah.
Or even a character in a unit, like a Gravis captain maybe.
Yeah.
Or even just if you want to take a solo character, like I said, having a 4+ feel no pain sort of on his own, sitting on the backfield. Very, very tanky.
Yeah.
Really good there. So that's good. There's not much really to say about that. It's a good enhancement.
It's nice. It's just going to keep that character. If you want him to be even more survivable, as you said, the perfect candidate would be the Gravis captain, because half in damage and then 4 at feel no pain. It's very strong.
It makes him very tanky.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got that. Next, we've got the Depth of the Omnissiah.
Okay.
So this is our other Tech Marine locked one.
Right.
And probably rightly so, because this is also quite powerful in my opinion.
Sure.
Once per battle round, when a saving throw is failed for a friendly Adept Astartes vehicle model within 6 inches, you can turn the damage characteristic to 0.
Right. So we're looking at like damage reduction to 0.
A few things to note here.
Yeah.
First thing, it specifically states it's done after the saving throw. So you don't have to preempt it by going, I really don't want to take that.
Yeah.
So first off, great. Second thing it's really good for is, you can bait it out of your opponent. Like if your opponent knows that you have it, they're going to put a bit more in trying to kill a tank that they may not have to put into.
Yeah, sure.
Again, I think it's amazing. And if you're running loads of vehicles, I think, again, this is just something that makes them really survivable.
Yeah.
On top of the Tech Marines being able to heal them. So it could get to a point where, let's say, our Ballista's Dreadnought is on 3 wounds left.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you with, I've only got 1 shot left. No matter what happens, they can't kill you, because if you pass the save, you pass it, and if you fail the save, you're just going to blank it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which then the Tech Marine can come over, heal the tank, and get ready. We've just caused a ton of problems for our opponent.
Exactly.
So that's really great. And then the final one is probably the other good one, in my opinion. So the one of the best is that Lethal Hits.
Yeah.
The next best, in my opinion, is this Master of the Machine War.
Right, okay.
This is another aura, and this can go on anybody.
So we've got 3 auras for these enhancements here, haven't we?
Well, 2 auras, one where you just pick a unit. It doesn't affect
Oh,
the
okay,
units within 6.
sure.
And this one is while within 6 inches of the bearer, or while you were, or anything like that, you are eligible to shoot, whether you advance or fall back with all vehicles.
Right, okay.
So again, really powerful. So we'll look at the first bit, which is the fallback.
Yeah.
So you may ask yourselves, but vehicles can shoot in combat anyway, or they can shoot out of combat because the guns never tire. This just means that you don't hit the -1.
Yeah.
Which is great and looks really cool.
Yeah.
But the more important part of this is actually the advance. So now you've got your Ballista's Dreadnoughts, your Redemptors, your
Repulsors, Land
your
Raiders,
Gladiators, everything like that. Before that were starting in Strat Reserve because maybe they either were worried about what your opponent had or they couldn't cut an angle.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they can just go 14 inches potentially or something like that and shoot you.
Yeah.
And they're more survivable because we've got Adept of the Omnissiah to blanket damage to 0. We've got so much here, guys. And I think these enhancements are super, super strong. If I had to pinpoint which one I think is the best, I'd probably say the Target or Augury Web.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing really well.
You are, mate. You're smashing it.
And just because Lethal Hits, and it's because of what we said about the Codex.
Yeah.
They've lost reroll wounds. They're not as punchy.
Yeah.
But having that lethal just sort of gives you that redundancy.
Yeah, building into it is fantastic.
And as we go on and you look at some stratagems, you're going to see actually there are going to be easier ways of doing wounds as well. With a little nice combo, which we'll go on to when it comes up.
Yeah, exactly.
But overall, fantastic enhancements. I think these are all very strong. I think they all have a place.
Yeah.
I don't think one is, again, I said the Lethal Hits is probably the best, but then they're all like, that. You've got the 3 being the blanket damage, advance and fall back and shoot, and the lethal that probably sit like very close to each other.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Feel No Pain, which probably sits a bit further down, but only because it's not as useful in as many situations.
I don't think you'll see that one as much, but I think the other 3 will almost be an auto include for this list.
I think you do take all 3.
Yeah, I think so too.
I believe it comes to about 85 points.
Yeah.
With all 3.
But it's
worth it. And the fact as well, it does mean you have to take 2 Tech Marines. But let's be honest, in this sort of army where you're going to be building a lot more vehicles, you're probably going to want to take these Tech Marines.
Exactly.
Anyway, and they become low knock when within 3 inches of vehicles. So again, just super good. Maybe your last enhancement could go on something, I don't know, like the Lieutenant with Combi Weapon, who is a lone operative.
Yeah.
So then you've got like a triple lone op combo going on there. They will have different enhancements. The lone op is going to be also moving up the battlefield to allow these guys to advance and shoot, fall back and shoot.
Yeah.
So yeah, really good.
Mate.
I really love these. I think they're great.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rate them 7 out of 7, mate.
I think they're great.
Yeah.
I think there's not, as I said, the Feel No Pain one probably brings it down. I think they're all probably a 6 or a 7, except for the Feel No Pain one, which I'll give a 3 or a 4, just because it's. I don't think
it's not an auto occlude, is it?
But if you were to give that that enhancement to another detachment, I think it would instantly go up. I think that's the problem, is we're looking at it in comparison.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Why can't we just enjoy them?
Yeah, we just got to enjoy all of them.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. All right, so next we're going to look at some stratagems, mate.
Let's take a moment to appreciate Colourforge, our fantastic sponsor. Their range of spray paints has become our go-to for making our miniatures come to life quickly and efficiently. The quality and variety of colours they offer are truly unmatched, providing a smooth application for stunning effects every time. Check out Colourforge for your next hobby project.
Okay, Jake, so what's the first stratagem we've got?
So the first stratagem, Jord, is Unbowed Conviction. Again, I'm doing well.
Yeah, really well, mate.
So this is in your command phase, you select one Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that's below starting strength.
Okay.
And for the remainder of the turn, so only your turn you get this, you ignore all modifiers to that unit, except for saving throws or tests it was to make. So leadership checks, battle shock checks, hit rolls, wound rolls, movement modifiers, charge modifiers, anything. Again, this is a 1 CP.
Yeah.
Fantastic, in my opinion. If you're playing against a lot of -1 damage, Death Guard example with them, ignore, blister skill modifiers, your stealths out there, even other Marines. If you're playing against a Redemptor that is going to be -1 damage and potentially could armor of content, you can just go, well, no.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing.
Brilliant.
1 CP. I run this similar stratagem in the form of an enhancement in my Votan army.
Okay, sure.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
I just think anytime you can have it, it's amazing.
Yeah, making sure that your stat lines aren't being touched is a very, very powerful rule. And if you can get it, sprinkle it in there, right?
Yeah, exactly that.
Cool.
So next one, we've got Armor of Contempt. I'm not going to go too much into this because this is the same in every. This is the one that is the same in every detachment.
Exactly.
Simply put, your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase in general. When your unit's targeted an attack, you can spend it, and for the remainder of that phase, you're -1. You ignore, or you take off a pip of AP for your opponent.
Exactly.
So AP1 became AP nothing, AP2 became AP1, so on and so forth.
Really, really powerful.
Great stratagem. It's battle tactics, so it's in line for one of the free ones you could use with a 0 CP. It's really good.
Nice.
On top of that, another battle tactic stratagem.
Okay.
Mercy is weakness. Now, this is a very, 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 very strong stratagem, in my opinion.
Very strong, yeah?
Very, very strong.
Okay.
Now, I alluded to this, actually, one of these stratagems actually combos really well the lethal hits.
Yeah.
One. And this is why. So in your shooting phase or the fight phase.
Okay.
So the fact you can do this in either actually then opens this army up to actually more different Marine builds, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you don't need to go shooting fully. You can sprinkle in some combat.
Like, I'm not going to lie, Blood Angels would be quite cool in this. Because you give
don't tempt me.
Because then you give, like, your Furioso Dreadnoughts, well, the following. Well,
yeah, what happens?
Everybody gets sustained if the target of the unit is below starting strength. So no matter what type of thing you are, whether you're infantry, a bike, anything like that, you get sustained, but providing the target you're hitting is below starting strength. And what we mean by that is lost a model, lost a wound, depending on what you are.
Yeah.
The extra bit to this is if you're a vehicle, you get critical hits on 5s.
Oh.
Now, the reason this is important is it doesn't say you get sustained hits on 5s. You get just critical hits on 5s. Thus meaning now your lethal is now
being triggered on 5s. Yeah. So you're going to get... It's similar to something, if anyone's familiar with the Space Marine Codex from the Index, people were running the Bolter Discipline enhancement, which gave the exact same rule in.
So it gives you, sustained, and then if you're in the Devastator Doctrine, sustained 5.
Yeah.
Critical 5s, and then there was the Biologus gave you lethal. So now you have this on anything really.
Anything
providing it's a vehicle.
Yeah.
But even if it's not a vehicle, you still have sustained for a unit. Potentially in combat, like a unit of 20 Crusaders looks really good with that.
Yeah.
Definitely Knights looks really good with that. And the Assault Intercessors look really good with that.
Yeah, anything
Assault
that
Intercessors, jump packs, anything really.
Like anything that wants to get into combat. So sustained is a really powerful rule. I think it helps get that push in your hits, doesn't it? So it's really, really.
I 1,000,000% agree, and I think this is a super, super good enhancement.
Yeah, I like that.
They're not enhancement, a stratagem even. And it's 1 CP and it's battle tactic.
The fact it's a battle tactic is nuts.
So if you have a captain in your unit and you want to go, okay, I need sustained here, let's do it. So absolutely incredible, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Vengeful Animus. Now, this is
Okay.
the next stratagem.
Yeah.
This is like a bit more of a funny one, in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
one command point. Any phase just after an Adeptus Astartes vehicle model from your army with deadly demise is destroyed. That Adeptus Astartes vehicle blows up
Yeah.
automatically. You do not roll the d6. Yeah, so you just get deadly demise for free. Steve is probably, if he was here,
Crying.
crying
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Very good. I think more situational. There's probably better things you'd rather spend your command points on.
Yeah.
But equally, if you've got a Redemptor Dreadnought that's in your opponent's lines, there's only a few wounds left on the thing killing
Yeah.
that's hurting it. You've got 1 CP. You could then flip an objective, so then it goes from them holding it to no one holding it.
Don't forget, there's also the fact that if you know your repulsor is on 2 wounds, 1 wound left in your turn, you could just march it all the way up into your opponent's lines, just get it up there as fast as possible and go, if you kill me, I'll just deadly demise and do d6 mortal wounds.
Or just plant it on an objective where there's loads of models.
Yeah.
And again, they either got to move back or they're going to take d6 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good, super good stratagem, that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Make sure you remember it if you're playing it, okay?
Yeah, please do.
yeah.
It's one of those ones that won't come up all the time.
No.
The situations it does come up in, it's really important.
And it could lead to some feel bad moments, I think, if you haven't really thought about it. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next one, Ancient Fury.
Yeah.
So this one's actually, again, quite niche, but I think really cool.
Yeah.
So you pick one, in your command phase, you pick one Walker model from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, you improve the movement, toughness, save, leadership, and objective control characteristic by 1, and you get +1 to hit.
Oh, so you make your dreadnoughts like stat lines just
So
boost.
you get a Redemptor up to toughness, I believe, 12 or 11.
It's either 11 or 12.
So we'll use the Redemptor.
Yeah.
Toughness 11 or 12, 1-up save,
Yeah.
movement 9,
Yeah.
objective control 4 or 5,
5.
and they're +1 to hit.
Love it. Love it. Beautiful.
Wow, really good.
Mamma mia.
Equally great for Ballistus because it means then it's hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
And it's super tanky. I see this as a really good one. The other thing it's really good for, Bjorn the Fell-Handed.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, good old Bjorn.
Yeah, because it just says Adeptus Astartes Walker.
Yeah.
Right, Murder Fang, Furioso Librarian.
Yeah.
Anything else that's a walker.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think this has a lot of play, and this is also another example of seeing that it's not just like, again, this is the Iron Hands themed attachment.
Yeah.
But instantly we've just thrown, what about the Space Wolves characters? What about this? What about, like, this is really good. Like,
There's a lot of combos here with these detachments, but actually this is something that's probably worth mentioning. We do have a masterclass coming out about all the detachments.
Yeah.
And what we go through in these masterclass episodes is we're looking at the detachments and what army. So we look at like the Imperial Fists and what detachments would suit that army the most and how they would work in each detachment, how you could get the best out of your army in that respect. So if you're interested in something like that, the link will be in the description below. But yeah, basically you can put anything in, but there's so many discussions you can have with these detachments.
and that's the thing. Put it down in the comments actually, which one you would, if you're a Space Wolf player, Blood Angel player, Dark Angel player, or any other chapter, let us know which one, if you are thinking about this for your army.
Yeah. So next one, mate.
Yeah, so finally we've got Power of the Machine Spirit. This is 1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has resolved its attacks. I don't think I need to say every time what I feel about
No, I
these
think you do.
stratagems.
Please let the people at home know.
It's one of these stratagems that every army just seems to have a different version of.
Yeah.
And this is the Ironstorms one.
Yeah,
So
sure.
one Adeptus Astartes vehicle model from your army that has been reduced below half strength as a result of an attack, of the attacking unit's attacks. You can shoot as if it was your shooting phase, but you can only shoot that unit.
Right, so you get shoot back.
So this is another, so this is 1 CP,
Yeah.
only on vehicles,
Yeah.
but only if you're taking below half.
Yeah.
Every book has this stratagem, it feels.
Yeah.
And it feels like every detachment, everything I ever read has this stratagem.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
they're all completely different.
Yeah.
It's still great though,
It's great.
right? Let's
Very
all
good.
joking aside, it's still great.
Yeah.
The fact that you could also, so you could be reduced below half,
Yeah.
blank the damage, so then you live
Yeah.
from the enhancement and then shoot back for 1 CP. Honestly, it's a no-brainer. That's so good.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, amazing. I think that's great stratagem. Overall, the stratagems are great. I think if we had to rank them, I'd probably go Mercy's Weakness as the top one.
Yep.
The fact that you could just give any unit sustained, but providing the unit's hitting is below starting strength.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant.
And then if it's a vehicle, it gets it on 5s.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So you've got a Gladiator Reaper now that has sustained anyway.
Yep.
So you could just use the stratagem to give it 5s
Yeah.
and then has lethal. dreadnoughts. Like there's so
Honestly,
much, right?
anything like just getting criticals on 5s with all the combos that you can do with this is
And the fact that you can give them lethal or sustain, and sustain, not either, super good. Like you alluded to earlier, we've seen that on the aggressor combo for ages with the index. And now we've got it in more of an aura and picking the units.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Enhancements are great as well. Overall, fantastic strategy.
It's I think it's probably the strongest detachment. It's definitely up there. Definitely a hot take.
I think
it's definitely.
I think it is.
Yeah.
The obviously strongest detachment.
But when we look at the other detachments, we've figured out some cheeky combos, haven't we?
I think this is the difference between this is the detachment that I think most players will look at and go, wow.
Yeah.
Like instantly, this has just jumped off the page.
Yeah, 100%.
But there are other detachments, as we'll probably go into through this series of videos, where you'll see that the power necessarily isn't obvious.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big factor of that.
100%.
But yeah, overall, this is a fantastic detachment, and I'm not going to be surprised if you're going to see this a lot.
No, I agree. I agree, mate.
So yeah,
I agree. Cool. Right. So now we're going to look at some spotlight units, and then we'll run through a little list at the end as well, and see what we can come up with.
And now for a word from our sponsor, C Studios. They are the experts in providing professional miniature painting services, ensuring your armies always look their best on the battlefield. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out, C Studios can help bring your miniatures to life. Don't miss out on their quality craftsmanship.
Okay, Jake, so we're going to look at some units now, aren't we, mate? So what have we got?
So first off, we've got an Impulsor.
Yes.
And there's a big reason why you really like this one, Jord, don't you?
Yes,
and
I do.
Do you want to tell people why you like this?
Yeah, so we've actually come up with a really cool way to utilise these in this detachment. So with the Impulsor, you can take some Desolation Marines that could go inside the Impulsor, because it can carry them, as it's got the Tacticus keywords. And then because as we've alluded to, that you will be taking Tech Marines in this detachment. So you'd have your 2 Tech Marines behind a couple of Impulsors with some shooting guys, and it could be Hellblasters, it could be Desolation Marines, and you because they give +1 to hit to a vehicle.
Yeah, so Tech Marine's ability is at the start of your command phase, you can heal a tank.
Yeah.
And whatever tank you heal, even if you don't heal it,
it just
gets +1 to hit.
Yeah, exactly. So what you can do then is you can make use of the firing deck keyword on the Impulsors. So when you're looking at your 5 Desolation Marines inside of a Impulsor that's now got +1 to hit, because of the firing deck keyword that allows the vehicle to shoot with the models that it's carrying, shoot with their weapons as if it was their own, they will be shooting the Desolation Marine's gun with +1 to hit.
Yeah.
But it's important to know you wouldn't get the Desolation Marine special rules, like obviously ignores cover and stuff.
And the other thing as well is that because it's the vehicle firing,
Yeah.
if you were to use, I don't know, the Mercy's Weakness stratagem on them, that means they then also get sustained. If you're shooting at something below starting strength, it also is crit 5 because it's a vehicle.
And if you take the enhancement with the 6-inch aura of lethal hits,
it's also lethal. So there's a bunch of stuff you can do there. That's a bit like more of an advanced thing, but I definitely think is very valid for how you can play this army.
Yeah, exactly.
The next thing is the Redemptor Dreadnought.
Yeah.
So we've alluded to him, we've spoken about him loads.
Yeah.
He's absolutely fantastic. Dropping in points as well was really key for
200 now.
Yeah,
Very
we've got a -1 damage, 2-up save chassis that's got a bunch of firepower and really can just dominate the table. A load of really useful stratagems for him as well. Again, Mercy is weakness, but we've also got the Deadly Demise as well.
Yeah, Deadly Demise. We've got the Dreadnought buff in
the Dreadnought Walker one, and you do also have the ability to shoot back with him potentially as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think he's really good. Obviously, we've said about Tech Marines, they're integral to how
they're literally auto includes in this detachment. I feel like you definitely want at least 2.
Yeah.
Right. So
and then finally, one that I really like is the Gladiator Reaper.
Yes. So you briefly mentioned this earlier, didn't you?
Yeah. So the Gladiator Reaper is really useful because 1, it's a tank, so it gets all the benefits of being a tank in its attachment.
Yep.
2, one of its rules is when it shoots infantry, it gets sustained hits.
Perfect.
Now, this just means that you've got a tank that already, for it's a really good price point anyway. I think it's believe 150 points.
Yeah, it's roughly around that
That
point.
now you could go, well, here's lethal as well.
Yeah.
So if that's not good enough,
Yeah.
then for 1 CP, you're shooting at something below starting strength. Okay, here's crit 5s.
Yep.
So you've just got this massive combo on a very, very shooting platform.
Yeah.
Would it be overkill? Potentially.
Depends on what you're shooting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't forget, you could also use the Tech Marines, give it +1 to hit, so it hits on 2s.
So then you could just fish for it with Oath of Moment
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, I think Reaper is so good. On top of all the Gladiator chassis,
Yeah.
but I think the Reaper is one that maybe hasn't been appreciated as much this edition.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that has a place in this detachment.
And I think definitely does.
Yeah, definitely. No, I really like that, mate. I mean, pretty much any vehicle is going to work really well in this detachment for the Space Marines. Your Land Raiders, your Repulsors, they've all got play. They all can use the combos that we've mentioned. They're just some honourable highlights, aren't they? But we've made a list, haven't we, mate?
We have made a list.
Yep.
So this is just sort of like a basis of a list, right?
Yeah, sure.
So this could be customised. It's roughly 2,000 points. It's definitely not over, maybe slightly under. But we have got 2 Tech Marines.
Yep.
One has the target Aurie web.
Target Augury Web.
Augury web.
Yep.
And the other one has the Blanket damage.
That's the name of it, the Blanket damage.
And then we've got a Lieutenant with Combi Weapon.
Yep.
He has the final enhancement for the advanced shoot full back shoot.
Yep.
3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts.
Sure.
2 Ballistas Dreadnoughts. Because I think, again, very cheap price point for what these are. I actually think these are a bit more value for money than the Lancer.
Well, they're 140 points, mate, now.
Yeah. Whereas the Lancer's 160.
Yeah, 160.
So for 20 points less, you get arguably a better chassis.
Yeah. You get more high power shots rather than all the little shots that come with it, right?
Then we've got 2 Whirlwinds.
Yep.
So Whirlwinds are really useful for the following. So indirect fire, really great. Especially in an edition where we're seeing boards a bit more heavy on terrain.
Yes.
To help combat armies out. It's really great for also doing little combos, like let's say turn 1, you go first, you can't see anything, but you're in range. You could go Tech Marine, will buff, both Tech Marines will buff each Whirlwind.
Yeah.
What that now opens you up to is to give them +1 to hits. That
Yeah.
counteracts the negative for indirect.
Yeah, sure.
Now, 1 shoots with potentially the 8th target, might as well. Reroll hits, hopefully you should get a wound through. If it does, you then use Mercy's weakness on the other one. Give it sustained 5s with lethal 5s as well.
Exactly.
So that's super good. Really helpful there. Next, we've got 2 units of Eliminators.
Okay.
So these are just really cheap, really cheap price point. Maybe Scouts are probably a bit more better value for point.
Yeah.
I've gone with Eliminators just because I like the idea of having them, to be honest. But I think Scouts are probably a better shout.
They both do the same role in the army, don't they?
Yeah, as long as you have a unit similar to either your Eliminator or Scout, something that can just turn up, do an action,
infiltrate,
to block off any potential alpha strikes or any. Definitely knights.
Yeah.
So they're really good. And then finally, to round out the army, I've got 2 units of Inceptors.
Nice.
Plasma. Again, really useful unit. They just pop down outside free, potentially. Shoot whatever they want, really. Again, could do actions if you really want to as well. You could even use, instead of having one of the units of Eliminators, the points you potentially save with maybe like some we've got left, you could put in 3 units of Inceptors potentially.
Yeah, sure.
I think either way, it's a super cool army.
Yeah.
But that's more like a basis. I think when you're looking at your sort of Ironstorm detachment, this is the sort of basis you want to look at. Other very valid things, you could take Land Raiders as well.
Yeah.
They're really good in this detachment. But I like the idea of having like more of a dreadnought.
Yeah, so the dreadnought list is definitely it's really strong, right? The Redemptor chassis, as we say, like the Brutalis, this and
mainly
Ballistas.
the Redemptor and the Ballistas we like.
Yeah,
just because they get the most benefit out of
exactly.
The re-rolls, the detachment, and everything. So.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's definitely other, like as we said earlier, Repulsors, Land Raiders, all these heavy vehicles. Basically, if you like tanks, take this detachment because you can basically use all the tanks in the world and have so much fun.
You can have the best time of your vehicles.
Yeah.
But also, as we've shown off, there are ways of utilising not just vehicles.
Yes, exactly.
There's a big emphasis on vehicles, but it doesn't just mean that anything else is invalid. Right?
Yeah, you still want to take that balanced approach to looking at the army where you still want your mission playing units. You still want some infantry to do certain things. Like, as you said, boards are getting more terrain heavy. So sometimes it might not be as easy to move a Land Raider around a certain point of the board or something like that. So yeah, definitely something to think about. But yeah, guys, let us know in the comments if you have any questions about the detachment or any other like combos that you think would work with it. And we'll see you in the next detachment video very soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.